I'm Salvatore Babonis, and I'm here to talk Australia-China relations. Australia's leading geopolitical analyst, Alan Dupont, has authored a paper for the Centre for Independent Studies in Sydney. It's called Mitigating the New Cold War, Managing U.S.-China Trade, Tech, and Geopolitical Conflict. And I'm telling you right now, turn straight to Chapter 2, which is on the tech war between the U.S. and China. Forget the trade war. The real deal is the tech war. Dupont has a section in that chapter on China's new techno-mercantilism, and it is the must-read portion of the paper. Now, this is a big paper. It handles all aspects of the U.S.-China relationship, starting with trade, going on to technology, talking about geopolitics. But the really insightful stuff is on technology, because dominance in the world today is no longer based on GDP or even GDP per capita. It's not based on trade and investment. It's based on technological networks. And Dupont dissects China's approach to trying to master the technological networks of the 21st century. This is absolutely necessary reading for anyone who wants to understand U.S.-China relations and Australia's, let's face it, Australia's bit part in that conflict. Australia, of course, is engaged in the U.S.-China relation both in the trade level, with the WHO, with the Darwin Marines, but really what it all comes down to in the end is technology. And in fact, Australia's decision not to take in Huawei 5G equipment was a big part of the United States having something of a propaganda victory against China in this tech war. But it's not just all about propaganda. It's about standard setting. And Dupont understands that. He makes a big deal of it. Now, where I think Dupont gets things wrong is that he is really worried that China will set the standards, not just for 5G, but for technology in the decades to come. He seems to be worried that China will use its influence in intergovernmental venues like the International Telecommunications Union to get standards set in ways that benefit China. Now, personally, I think these intergovernmental organizations are ever less important. They may set standards, but it doesn't mean that anyone will follow them if the likes of Google, Facebook, and Amazon don't agree with the standards that the ITU is setting. That, of course, is up for debate. Now, I can't fault the paper. It doesn't take a strong position on this. Instead, it raises the issue, and it's entirely appropriate to raise the issue. More importantly, for those of you who may be interested in reading it, it gives the dirt. I mean, all the details on China's technology mercantilism, China's effort to create national champions that can take on American firms. It's all there. Now, the reason I think China will lose this battle is that China is always trying to master the current technology. The U.S. tech giants are designing the future. And that's not about standard setting or getting control of the ITU or stuff like that. That's about imagining what kind of technology people will want and need in the future. And the future is not being made in Shenzhen. The future is being imagined in Silicon Valley. That said, fantastic report, and I find it an incredible reference. You will too. Definitely read it, make up your own mind. But anyone who is interested in Australia-China relations or the broader U.S.-China context, definitely read this paper.